This is Fox 43 News at 10.
Take it out, take it out. You're right now.
A Harrisburg firefighter's helmet cam gives a first-hand look into what it took to fight a firebomb arson early this week. Good evening. But first, a Dauphin County jewelry store owner watched as her daughter was fatally shot in Philadelphia over the weekend. Police say 3 men were trying to steal her purse.
Fox 43's Ashley Palutis is in Lower Paxton Township, where she spoke with the store's manager and friend of the family about this senseless act of violence.
She was a really good kid. She was just she just had an infectious smile, and she's just a beautiful person.
Philadelphia police say Amber Long was walking with her mother in the Northern Liberty section of the city around 10:30 Sunday night when 3 men pulled up in a car. You can see them approach the 2 women in this surveillance video released by police. They robbed Amber and her mother, and then one of the suspects shot Amber in the chest. She died with her mother, Stephanie, standing right beside her.
Stephanie had to witness that, and that's something she's going to remember for the rest of her life, you know, and just to know that that's the last way she ever seen Amber is just, I just can't even imagine it.
Amber studied architecture at Philadelphia University. An artist like her mother, her artwork is displayed in the Lower Paxton Township store.
Recently landed a job with a really nice architectural firm. She was very happy, very excited. She just was really excited to have this job.
Kim Wilson is a family friend and manager of the Gold Crafters Corner jewelry store in Lower Paxton Township, owned by Stephanie Long. Wilson says the support from the local community since word of Amber's death has been overwhelming, both on social media and by simpler means like picking up the phone and stopping by the store. The
whole compassion thing of everybody, I think, is overwhelming to me, but I know it would be very overwhelming, and Stephanie would really appreciate it.
In Lower Paxton Township, Dauphin County, I'm Ashley Palutis, Fox 43 WPMT.
Philadelphia police are still searching for the 3 suspects involved in the shooting. They received a tip earlier in the week that turned out to not be true. Amber's family has now set up a scholarship in her name at Philadelphia University. For more information on how you can donate, go to our website, fox43.com.
A toddler is in the hospital tonight after being struck by a car in Cumberland County. A 2-year-old was flown to Hershey Medical Center after the car struck the child near the intersection of Shepherdstown Road and South Market Street in Upper Allen Township. This all happened around 4 o'clock this afternoon. There's no word at this hour on the condition of the child. A truck driver died this morning when 2 tractor trailers crashed on Route 222 in Lancaster County. It happened around 4:30 in the morning in East Cocalico Township when the 2 trucks collided while driving side by side. The truck in the right lane was able to stop on the shoulder while the other truck went up an embankment, struck a tree, rolled over, ejecting the driver. The name of that driver has not yet been released.
Fire gutted this old farmhouse in Peach Bottom Township, York County this afternoon. The fire broke out at about 1 at this home on the 800 block of Mount Olivet Church Road. By the time firefighters arrived, the roof and 2nd floor had already collapsed. Firefighters say the deep snow made it difficult to get to the house.
We brought one piece up here. Everybody else had to walk, 600 yards to get to the scene through snow. So your guys are exhausted before they ever get to start firefighting. So once we got here, we determined immediately it was a defensive operation where we would be outside and not put anybody in danger.
The fire chief believes a wood stove started it. They were told that the farmhouse was built in the late 1800s. The American Red Cross is now helping the couple who lived there.
A fire ripped through a Lancaster County home this morning. This happened in the 700 block of West Main Street in Mount Joy at around 6 a.m. The family was asleep at the time, but the 14-year-old son smelled smoke and woke everyone up. The upper floors of the home were damaged. Firefighters believe the cause was electrical.
My son woke us up. He said, there's a fire in my room. And I grabbed my 5-year-old and we ran downstairs, and my wife and I, we went to the neighbor's house and stayed there and watched the firemen fight the fire for 2 hours.
The homeowners say they will at this point be staying with other family members.
All right, well, cold temperatures seem to be sticking around. Andrea, Florida is feeling really good right about now.
Florida or anywhere, really, anywhere but here. Yeah, we are still stuck with that chill, and unfortunately, it really looks like it is just going to linger over the next several days. So I'll let you know when we can expect a next little burst of snow across the area.
Police have cited a York County judge for allegedly hitting a fire hydrant with his car and then failing to report the crash.
York Area Regional Police charged Judge Thomas Kelly with 3 summary offenses for the incident. Fox 43's Melissa Nardo shows us more on the investigation.
Sergeant Jeffrey Dunbar says York Area Regional Police officers responded to the 800 block of Nightlight Drive Saturday night just before 10. A neighbor called to report that a car had hit a fire hydrant.
It was knocked completely off. I think it was laying over in the ground.
But when police arrived, they found no vehicle.
Nearby, we found some vehicle parts. And the next day, in the daylight, another officer went back and found some similar parts at the end of the driveway to Judge Kelly's residence.
Officers then talked to Judge Kelly.
The officer spoke with Judge Kelly, and he showed him the car that had the damage.
Was his car pretty damaged?
Yes. And the front end of it, I guess, had a pretty decent amount of damage to it.
Police cited Judge Kelly for failing to report an accident, careless driving, and damage to property.
They're all summary violations.
In York Township, York County, I'm Melissa Nardo, Fox 43 WPMT.
The penalties for summary violations are usually fines. Judge Kelly's attorney, Christopher Farrell, was not available for comment.
Attorney General Kathleen Kane announced charges against Lebanon County Clerk of Courts Lisa Arnold today. Arnold is accused of failing to report DUI convictions and other information to PennDOT. Arnold's required to report DUI convictions or acquittals within 10 days to PennDOT, but according to the criminal complaint, Arnold failed to provide the information over 200 different times. A deputy sheriff who's being investigated by state police quit today after 30 years on the job. Dennis Kane retired and resigned after 30 years of service in the Schuylkill County Sheriff's Department. Meanwhile, state police say they are investigating the conversations he was having with a 16-year-old boy on Facebook. A woman filed a complaint after finding messages of a sexual nature on Facebook. Kane has denied doing anything wrong. He's also the mayor of Ashland and says he will not resign from that job.
Pennsylvania State Senator John Udacek has proposed a law that would significantly alter the Board of Governance structure at Penn State University. Senate Bill 1240 would reduce the Board of Trustees from 30 to 23 voting members. Senator Udacek says with too many members, the flow of information is restricted, and he's noticed that it's harder for so many members to collaborate on issues. If the bill passes, the governor and president of the university would be removed from the board.
This is about getting a governing structure in place so that you have an engaged, efficient, and effective board. We believe through our research and comparing it to the rest of the country in terms of higher education that we got a right number to make sure that Penn State remains one of the best universities in the world.
Udacek says in the aftermath of the Sandusky scandal, the board has not been making decisions wisely. Fort Indiantown Gap may soon undergo some major changes. The Army has proposed to replace its Kiowa helicopter fleet with Apache helicopters from the National Guard nationwide. And some are concerned this would take the National Guard out of attack business. Fox 43's Melanie Orleans joins us to show us what the proposal entails.
Yeah, Amy and Evan, 2 months ago, Fort Indiantown Gap learned what could be the future of 350 soldiers and the helicopters it depends on for protection.
Major General Wesley Craig says the Army has big bills to pay, and they could be doing it at the expense of the National Guard. Craig says, in essence, the Army proposes to replace the National Guard's heavily armed Apache helicopters with Black Hawk helicopters that are normally used for transport purposes. And Craig says the plan would also reduce the state's fleet of helicopters by half.
We have 1/3 of our attack helicopters here, that's 8 of them, and another 16 at Johnstown. So we have a total of 24 in the state, and this plan of the Army would remove all 24.
Craig says if Congress approves this, it would take the National Guard out of so-called attack mode and could leave 350 soldiers without jobs.
People who fly those Apaches will be essentially out of business for a good probably 1 to 2 years. So of no help to the nation in national defense and no help to the governor in terms of domestic emergency.
Governor Tom Corbett expressed his concern by writing a letter to the Secretary of Defense. Corbett says he supports Craig's stand and other adjutant generals across the nation.
The center to our mission has been fighting and winning America's wars for the whole duration of our nation, and so it concerns us when proposals are made that would remove combat aircraft outside of National Guard formations.
We reached out to the Army and they told us they have no comment, but Craig says the next step is to take this fight to Congress. Evan and Amy.
Thank you, Mel. The FDA required nutrition labels to appear on food packages 20 years ago.
And now they're due for a makeover. A little later, we'll tell you what you can expect to see on the labels.
And from mugging in music videos to posing for mug shots, Justin Bieber spends a night in jail and a day in court. The latest on the troubled pop star when Fox 43 News at 10 returns in 60 seconds.
If I was your boyfriend, never let you go.
He's one of the biggest pop stars in the world, but he's not above the law. Police arrested Justin Bieber this morning. This is just the latest trouble for the Canadian singer that he has been in. So the question now is, what happens next for the international sensation and his empire? Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the answers.
Mr. Bieber, you are charged with the following: DUI, alcohol or drugs, resisting without violence, and driving with an expired driver's license.
19-year-old Justin Bieber now has an arrest on his record after being detained in Miami for DUI while drag racing. He faces 3 charges overall and was released on $2,500 bond. It's the latest in a string of incidents for the troubled star, though a night in jail and a court appearance may serve as a wake-up call.
We are hearing that his camp is really starting to get nervous. I mean, yes, he's gotten in a lot of trouble in the past year, but this is the first time he's actually officially had a problem with the law. And this is really going to affect his brand, his fans, the money he's making.
From this to his tendency to be spotted on the party scene, Bieber has taken a sharp turn from his young pop star image.
Every single city that he hits, he's going to the hottest clubs where there's paparazzi outside, people inside that are obviously going to report on what he does. Like, he's not careful about anything that he does. So this kid really isn't worried, and I think it's finally time that he kind of got a slap in the face and realizes that this could be real business now.
So when it comes to what can be done, focus may turn to his parents.
It really is interesting to see now where Justin Bieber's mom, sources are telling us that Justin's dad was actually the one that barricaded the block off so Justin Bieber could drag race a rented Lamborghini. I mean, if that's true and if that's the case, I mean, what's wrong here? I mean, you have to look at past celebrities like Lindsay Lohan and her parents' involvement. Are Justin Bieber's parents to blame here?
Plus, with any troubled celebrity, there's always the question over who's calling the shots. Though ultimately it may be up to Bieber himself to turn things around.
You can't put all the blame on them. He's 19 years old. He is an adult.
In New York, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
This story is certainly gaining a lot of attention around the world, so we decided to ask all of you what you think of Bieber's arrest. Jenna says, who cares? It's just another teen star with too much money, time, and not enough strong consequences. Jessica writes, in part, I'm not a fan of him or his music, but he is someone's son. I don't think we should be bashing him like this. He clearly didn't have a normal childhood. Tracy writes, is it me or does he kind of look like Miley Cyrus? If you'd like to get in on the conversation, you can do so. Just head to our Fox 43 Facebook page.
And in weather, we are talking about another chilly, frigid evening across the region. Have a look at when you can expect yet another Arctic blast coming up in a little bit.
The Brethren Housing Association and Pinnacle Health kicked off a new project today in Harrisburg to help single women and children. Contractors broke ground in Allison Hill on newly constructed housing that will help women and children in need get back on their feet. The project will demolish several blighted properties on the 200 block of Hummel Street and then replace them with 5 brand new townhouses. The homes will help the Brethren Housing Association assist families transition out of poverty.
They will provide transitional housing to homeless single moms and their kids. Women and children coming from local homeless shelters will move in with us for 6 months to 2 years. We'll help them get jobs, go to school, work on parenting, budgeting skills, become more stable, and then move out into their own place.
Demolition starts next month, and organizers hope to have the project completed by the end of the year. The West York Borough Council unanimously approved a dog tethering ordinance. Dogs in the borough may not be tethered outside if York County is under a severe storm warning, in freezing weather, or if temperatures are above 90 degrees. Dogs also must have access to clean water and shade and are allowed only to wear non-choke collars. Now, owners cannot tether their dogs indefinitely or allow them to remain tethered while unattended.
An Illinois woman faces animal cruelty charges for abandoning an alligator at Chicago O'Hare Airport. Police arrested Alex Propuchik Tuesday after discovering an alligator, which they have now nicknamed Allie, beneath an airport escalator. It's now in the care of animal service officials. Prokopchik reportedly told police that she and her ex-boyfriend rescued the gator from a friend who was going to kill it, but lost the animal while she was high on drugs.
We've covered fires from street level and from our Skycam, but rarely do we get this view of a fire. A bit later, we're going to show you that this wasn't filmed in Hollywood. This was recorded by a firefighter in Harrisburg.
And Consumer Reports says that soda you're drinking could be also making you sick. Important information you need to know coming up. A warning tonight from Consumer Reports about a chemical found in soda that may be dangerous to your health. Researchers say the chemical that gives soda its brown color is the culprit. It appears on labels simply as caramel coloring, but according to the World Health Organization, it may possibly cause cancer. The magazine is calling on the FDA now to change labeling restrictions to more accurately list the chemicals included. The nutrition labels on the back of food packages may soon be easier to read as the FDA's new guidelines are now being considered by the White House. FDA officials say nutrition facts are now 20 years old and the food environment along with dietary guidelines have changed. Therefore, it's time for an update. One expected change in label is to make the calories listing more prominent. So far, there's no indication when the new labels, though, will be released.
The Super Bowl is a little over than a week away, and the New Jersey Attorney General wants people coming to Super Bowl 48 to be on high alert for scammers. This includes fake tickets, home rental, and travel scams, along with counterfeit merchandise. The office says the best way to make sure you don't get ripped off is to always pay with a credit card. That way, you can dispute the charges later if you have to. Meanwhile, the big game has already been dubbed the first mass transit Super Bowl, and organizers say they're ready. New Jersey Transit and Path Rail Lines will offer expanded service starting next week. They expect around a few 100,000 visitors. And on game day, ticket holders can take trains or buses from 6 locations in New York City and 3 in New Jersey. Bus costs $51 for a round-trip ticket. Well, we're just 10 days, almost 10 days away from the kickoff of the big game. February 2nd, the Denver Broncos and the Seahawks will battle it out for the Lombardi Trophy right here on Fox 43. And if you'd like to watch the game on a new television set, here's the deal. Fox 43 is holding the Big Game, Big TV Facebook contest. All you have to do is like Fox 40 on Facebook and enter the contest. We'll be giving away 4 gift cards that you can use to purchase a brand new flat screen television. Winners will be drawn on January 30th and January 31st.
This is not a sequel to the movie Goodfellas. This is a real-life pinch of the wise guys accused of an infamous heist. That story coming up.
A Harrisburg firefighter wears a helmet cam into a burning building. We'll show you that video coming up.
You're watching Fox 43 News at 10.
A Harrisburg firefighter is giving people a firefighter's view on what it takes to go into a burning building.
Yeah, the video of a firebombing that engulfed a home has hit the web. Fox 43's Ashley Palutis is live in Harrisburg tonight to show us why the video and why the City of Harrisburg Fire Department says they're looking into buying helmet cams for all of the firefighters.
Yeah, the Harrisburg City Fire Chief tells me that one of his men wore his own helmet cam into this now completely destroyed building that burned on Monday here along North 4th Street. And what it shows is only the beginning of all the hard work that goes into fighting such an intense fire. Now take a look at this. The firefighter rushes in to these 4 burning row homes Monday morning. You can see him go through the home with a hose, knocking down windows and putting out the flames. The fire chief says the fire started at 6 Monday morning after someone threw a firebomb onto the front porch of this row home. The fire quickly spread to 3 other homes, displacing 14 people. He says the fire was so intense and was a hard one to fight.
It's just a senseless act of violence that put not only the residents in these buildings, but also our firefighters and our mutual aid partners at risk. Just responding out is a dangerous proposition. When you come out and have 4 buildings involved in fire that's rapidly spreading, it puts our personnel in harm's way quite quickly.
The chief told me today he's working with city officials to come up with a policy on how to handle disseminating video like this in the future. He's also working on proposing that every one of his firefighters wear helmet cams so they can use that video later for training. Now, I also spoke with the city spokesperson as to where this investigation stands with this arson. And as of right now, there is no new information. But of course, we will keep you updated with the latest. We're live in Harrisburg. I'm Ashley Paludas, Fox 43 WPMT.
All right, Ashley, a 14-year-old girl is facing murder charges for the death of her sister. Police in suburban Chicago say they discovered the body of an 11-year-old girl dead in her room from dozens of stab wounds. Investigators say the 14-year-old initially told them that a man killed her sister, but she later confessed, telling officers she stabbed her sister 30 times with a kitchen knife because the girl didn't appreciate everything she did for her. Prosecutors formally charged the man accused of killing a fellow student in a shooting at Purdue University with murder today. Police say 23-year-old Cody Cousins shot and stabbed 21-year-old Andrew Bold in front of several people. Police have recovered a handgun, bullet casings, and a knife in the case. They have yet to disclose a motive for the killing.
A real-life ending to the movie Goodfellas in New York today. Federal agents arrested 78-year-old Vincent Asaro and 4 other alleged members of the Bonanno crime family. Asaro's arrest stems from the infamous Lufthansa heist at Kennedy Airport back in 1978. The heist netted more than $5 million in cash and another $1 million in jewels and inspired Martin Scorsese's film Goodfellas. Asaro will be arraigned on a series of federal racketeering charges. He is the first accused mobster to face charges for that heist. The federal investigation into the Bridgegate scandal is widening. 2 subpoenas were handed down to the New Jersey governor's re-election campaign and the state's GOP committee. The feds are looking into the George Washington Bridge traffic scandal in which top Christie staffers tied up lanes of traffic as political retribution back in September. Christie denies knowledge of the plot and has fired his deputy chief of staff. Well, he may be halfway around the world, but today Edward Snowden was in homes, I should say, around the world. The NSA leaker took questions from the public in a live chat this afternoon. He said he never stole any passwords, and he says whistleblower protections in America have too many holes. It's his second Q&A session with the public. The first was hosted by the Guardian newspaper in June. Questions for today's chat were submitted using the Twitter hashtag #AskSnowden. It is official. The National September 11 Museum will charge a general admission of $24 when it opens in May. The ticket price was approved as part of a $63 million operating budget and financial plan to keep the memorial and the museum running in the absence of government support. Relatives of September 11 victims will always be granted free admission, and the museum will be open free to the public for the first 3 hours every Tuesday.
Well, men, I hope you have big pockets. And ladies, you may need a bigger purse. One of America's favorite phones is about to get supersized. Why size matters when it comes to phones. Coming up next. The iPhone may be getting bigger. Apple announced that it's developing a pair of new iPhones with larger displays. The smaller of the two will measure 4.5 inches diagonally, and it's being prepped for mass production right now. The other will be more than 5 inches, but it's still in early development. Apple has been losing market shares to rivals such as Samsung, which makes phones with bigger screens. The new iPhones are expected to be released later this year.
The Pennsylvania Auto Show has rolled into Harrisburg. More than 500 cars and other vehicles are on display inside the Farm Show complex. And new this year, the first ever car giveaway from local dealerships. Visitors can choose from a selection of cars by dropping a name into the box. Organizers say the Auto Show is a big driver for local car sales.
This has become a real popular event every year. People look forward to it. They like the fact that they can come to one place, see a bunch of vehicles. Our certified pre-owned section has been growing every year.
The Auto Show runs through Sunday.
Tourism in Gettysburg significantly helped Adams County ahead of the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. An economic study shows visitor spending in 2012 was $629 million. That's a 3% jump from 2011. The president of the Gettysburg Convention and Visitors Bureau says they actually predicted the increase. He says it's a growth that helps support the community.
Coming out of the economic downturn to increase their revenues, increase profitability, be able to hire more employees, and at the end of the day, take home more money.
Flowers says the employment grew to over 7,000 workers in 2012, and he says he expects the county generated about $750 million in 2013 because of the big anniversary.
Volunteers from Support Our American Recruits, along with Rutter's Farm Stores, spent the evening stuffing care packages for 50 military units deployed overseas.
Fox 43 photojournalist Mike Seitz shows us how they're sending a taste of home, along with a very special message for Valentine's Day.
Martins and Utz as far as chips and pretzels, Hershey's with the Reese cups and Hershey bars, and then some gum and mints that goes with it, some coffee, which they love, getting away from the military issue for a little bit. They know people are still thinking about them. They're not forgotten, especially in a time where, you know, we seem to be calling a lot of people home. Some people may tend to forget there's still a lot of people serving over there.
You get the little emails back, and one guy said, you'd be amazed how much of a smile goes on a face when they just read that little message on a heart and have a piece of candy or something from home. They realize that the enthusiasm dies down. We want to make sure that they know over there that we're still supporting them.
Well, not all of the care packages have destinations, so if you'd like to send one to a loved one overseas, visit our website, fox43.com. A family in Philadelphia will never forget this week's snowstorm. We'll tell you why they'll be talking about it for years to come.
And the rest of your 7-day forecast is still ahead with a look at when you can expect your next couple of clipper systems. But first, it's time for our 3-degree guarantee. And today's forecasted high was 19 degrees and the official came in at 21. So we were within our guarantee, and $5 is added to the jackpot, and that makes our new total $628. Don't forget, the more we're right, the more you win. For contest details and information on how you can be the next winner, head on over to fox43.com.
This later winter storm will be unforgettable for one family in Philadelphia. That's because a new mom gave birth on the way to the hospital on that sled you just saw. Little Bella Sophia Bonanni was born at about 6 a.m. in the Roxborough section of the city. The dad-to-be realized it was too dangerous for his wife to walk down the hill to the car, so he put her on a sled instead. But baby Bella couldn't wait.
I ran out to our house, turned it up to 80, took her to the warmest room and just, helped ride.
Bella and Mom are both doing just fine. They're expected to go home from the hospital sometime this week.
Good thing she was on the sled, huh?
And not the ice and the snow. That would be uncomfortable.
I just can't imagine that outside in the cold.
No, I don't think anyone wants to imagine that.
You don't have a choice.
That is very true. And one thing we don't have a choice in right now is the way this weather is going to be panning out with, we just can't cut a break by the middle of next week.
His staff is complete and the unveiling is tomorrow. James Franklin said he's fiercely loyal to his assistants. Why, that's evident when he publicly introduces his new staff in Happy Valley. We begin on the college hardwood. Penn State with no Big Ten victories so far. Hot stove dinner. That sounds about right this time of the year now.
Definitely.
Huh? Perfect, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, Fruit Loops are famous for their fruity taste, but it turns out the sugary cereal is not all that fruity.
It's terrible.
What?
We are all led to believe that the orange, purple, yellow, red, blue, and lime green loops tasted kind of like that specific fruit, like a lemon, but it turns out the different colored O's are actually all the same flavor. So what is that flavor? Fruit, which stems from a blend of fruit flavors, fruit being spelled F-R-O-O-T. That's how they describe it.
Who'd have thought? Dashed all my childhood memories.
All I know is they're
know.
tasty. I still eat them.
I
20
swear
seconds.
they taste differently, but all right.
Quick look at weather.
All right, quick look at weather. Cold. That pretty much sums it up.
pretty quick.
Really, really cold. As we head into the upcoming weekend, though, we see some 20 as the Clipper system moves through. Another one overnight Sunday, and then yet another Arctic blast midweek.
Yippee.
Yippee.
Exactly. Sums it up.
All right, thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News at 10. The morning team will be here at 4 a.m.
And we're back at 4 p.m. Arsenio's up next. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.